Hey everyone, COE33 here. Happy New Year's. It's 2017, which means it's time for our annual full game rooms tour. Today I'm going to take you along and show you both our upstairs game room, and that's where we're at right now, and our downstairs game room. I'm going to share the entire collection with you. I'm going to talk about everything in detail, so this will be a nice long video for you guys. And we're also going to meet up with Leaf here pretty soon, who's in her room playing some Nintendo DS, of course, her favorite, and she's hanging out in her Nintendo handheld gaming zone. We'll share that with you. So this should be a good time. And if you just want to kind of get an idea of what we have in the collection, you don't want to sit through a long video, I went ahead and took some B-roll footage. Go ahead and watch that. You'll get an idea of what we have in the collection. But if you do want to stick around, watch that footage and then hang out a little bit longer, and I'll take you on the tour. We're back. I hope you enjoyed that overview of our game rooms, and now it's time to take the tour. So why don't we just kind of walk around, take our time, and I'll try to share as much information with you guys as possible, and we'll just have fun looking at the collection. So why don't we start right here? We recently picked this up at a Goodwill, and it's from Sharper Image, I believe, originally, and it's battery powered, and you just turn this little knob, and it's pretty cool. It's just kind of a neat way to look at your collection, and there's a little light there. So definitely looking forward to adding some more games there. We have our Dreamcast games, or some of our Dreamcast games in there at the moment, and plenty of room to grow, so that's awesome. Over here we have a Crosley record player, CD player, tape player combo. Now it's not the greatest in the world as far as quality of sound, but it looks nice and actually does a pretty good job as far as this space up here, filling it up with music, so it does the job. And I like the looks of it, so that's cool. We got some of my favorite records down there, including The Wall, which I just was gifted by my little brother, which was an awesome gift. He knows me well, and that's really cool. Moving over here, we have a sarcophagus, and inside of the sarcophagus, we have some miscellaneous games. We got some loose Sega Master System games, and then we have some loose Sega Game Gear games down below that. So that's cool. And we've got a little lion there and a slot machine, and this thing's pretty cool. It's a bank, but it works pretty well. It's, you know, heavy duty. It's a pretty quality little bank there, so that's kind of fun. And then we've got some miscellaneous stuff in that cabinet. Candy dispenser. I think we've got 3 or 4 of those. And everyone in the family likes candy, so we have different varieties up here so that people can hang out, they can eat candy, they can play games, play a little pinball. Speaking of which, here's our pinball machine, and Leaf and I did a restore on this. When we got it, it was totally covered in graffiti and it didn't work. And you know, we didn't go full restore on it. There's still some marks where people put their palms right here and stuff like that. But it's in much better shape than it was when we got it. And it's a lot of fun. We enjoy playing it. People enjoy when they come over. They enjoy, you know, they get a good time out of hanging out and playing a little pinball, so that's cool. Over here we've got a RC tank, which the cats love. And we've got a projector screen. And the projector screen is, for over here, behind the Sega Master System, there's a projector, and you can actually set it up so that you can project. We have the Retron 3 and the Sega Master System hooked up to it, so that if you want to play those games on a big screen, you can do that. So that's kind of fun. And it's a vintage projector screen too. It's from like the 60s. And then we've got our vinyl collection down here. And I'm not going to take everything out, but lots of good stuff. Classic rock, some video game soundtracks, and blues, and just all kinds of stuff. Most of which I get at Goodwill's for like 99 cents usually. And you can see the Shenmue record there, which is awesome. And I actually have the Shinobi soundtrack on its way, so I'm looking forward to receiving that. Right here is this cubby that we have, and this was actually kind of how this upstairs game room started, by getting this iCade and putting the iPad in it. And this was like the first piece that when I moved into this home, this was the only thing that was up here. And I knew I wanted a game room when I was searching for houses. And one of the selling points of this house was this space up here. I thought this would be an awesome game room, and I knew it would take some time to get to a place where I, you know, was happy with it. And it did. It's been, you know, several years at least. And but I love this space, and it's cool that people come and they enjoy it, and a lot of people get a, you know, enjoyment out of this space, which is really cool. So there's our iCade, and that actually works really well, especially for playing like Atari games and old school arcade games. We've got this power up light switch right here, which you can turn on or off, and then it controls the light. So we have a blue light up there. So you turn this on, and then the blue light comes on. So that's cool. It's a little sign I put together, classic arcade, and I painted that frame there. And there's lots of DIY projects you'll notice up here, and Leaf and I both enjoy a good DIY project. So it always adds a nice personal touch to a game room when you can take the time to make something or to customize something to make the space your own. So there's another candy dispenser there. It's a Jelly Belly dispenser, and as you can see, those are pretty popular in the house because we're almost out. A couple little arcade cabinet candy dispensers there. There's a Pac-Man machine and a Space Invaders, and then a Rubik's Cube and another little slot machine. Now this one's a little chintzier than the last one, but it works. Oh, there we go, we're winners. And we got a clock. Alright, moving over here is a TV that we have up here. And I've got the cable set up to it so you can hang out and watch TV up here, but of course you can play video games. So we've got the Sega Dreamcast, which I love, and that's hooked up via VGA cable to this TV, so it looks really nice. And we've got a GameCube, we've got an NES, and a Super Nintendo. Now this is not the ideal TV for an NES or Super Nintendo or really any old retro console, but that's okay because we have old school CRT television downstairs that we love to play those older games on, and we also have a CRT television up here that you'll see in a second that we have a Retron 3 hooked up to, and is our favorite way to play NES and Sega Genesis games. So you can see this little, I don't even know what you would really call it, but we created this little, I don't know, marquee I guess you could call it, for Super Mario Brothers, and we just have that above the TV to kind of fill the space. So this entertainment center was made for a CRT television, but we have a flat panel TV in here and wanted something to fill that space. So we took a bunch of DVD cases, printed out inserts, and then glued all those together, and then put that on top of the TV. Just kind of, you know, again, a nice little touch to add a little personal touch to the game room. We got some red LED lights up there with some of our box Sega Genesis. We got a core system. We've got the arcade stick, and then we got our Sega 32X in the box up there, so kind of a nice little spot for some of our Sega boxed systems and accessories. And what do we got over here? Fire extinguisher, of course, because you always want to be safe. And peeking back there is a Wi-Fi extender. Moving over here we got a little printout for pay table for our slot machine. And this is pretty cool. This is our pinball machine that we have up here. It's a Valley Fireball pinball machine from 1978. And was actually sold in Sears for $700 back in '78. And those are some advertisements that I printed out just so people could get a little information on the pinball machine if they wanted. We have a gaming chair up here, and this has Bluetooth capabilities, a speaker built into it, and actually has pretty good audio. So if you want to play games on this TV or on the iPad or on your phone or whatever, you can enjoy it with good stereo sound. So that's nice, or you can plug in some headphones into that. We have a slot machine, and this is a pretty crazy slot machine. It's a Japanese machine. It takes tokens. It's called a skill stop machine, and it's really loud. It's got this Japanese guy on it that just screams at you at the top of his lungs, and it's pretty crazy. So it's, you know, it's not my favorite machine in the world. I actually want to replace this with an authentic, you know, like a machine from Vegas, like a quarter machine or a nickel slot or something a little more authentic. But all in good time, and you know, it's still a fun thing to play on. It's just not my first choice of slot machines that we have up here. We have a Sega Master System down here. Oh, and can't forget the Super Mario Brothers coffee cup there. That's from thinkgeek.com. That's awesome. I love to have a little cup of coffee in the morning from that. We have a Sega Master System down there. We got some more of those arcade cabinet candy dispensers. And then in these drawers we have board games, which is always a lot of fun to play. The fam likes to get together and play some board games, and that's always a good time. And we actually have even more board games down here, and you can see all of them, and that's always a good time. And I actually put a little felt onto this table here so that we could have a little board game table. And then I've got my globe on top of that. This globe's actually really cool. It's all made with gemstones. This was an anniversary present, and I really like it. So let's see, what else? Moving over here, of course, the Sega arcade cabinet, one of the gems of the collection. Leaf and I made this together. We built the cabinet out of wood, and there's a laptop back there plugged into a monitor, and then there's a bunch of Sega Genesis games on it. Right now, Toe Jam and Earl is up, and then we printed out a marquee and put some lights behind that. And it's just a lot of fun. It's, you know, come up here, play a little Sega Genesis with arcade controls is a fun thing to do. And then we have this ottoman down here, and not only does it serve as a seat for playing Sega arcade cabinet games, but it also has this controller kind of holder, and then it's also got more controllers down there. Moving up from here, we've got some artwork that we got at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, the Earthworm Jim, which I really like. That's awesome. And then just kind of a random print. Coming over here, we have some lighting fixtures, including the lava lamp, which is warming up right now. And then this light, which is kind of nice because you can switch the settings on it to get different amounts of light, depending on, you know, how much lighting you actually want in the room. And then this is our little CRT television here that I have the Retron 3 hooked up to. Right now it's got Miss Pac-Man running for the Super Nintendo. And this is a really just comfortable spot to hang out and to play either NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Just kind of chill out on this couch and play some old school games on an old school TV, which is perfect in my book. Yeah, moving over here, we just, you know, window seal, nothing to write home about there, but we do live in the country, which is nice, and it's nice to hang out and look out to the trees and the forest. Moving over here, we have another candy dispenser. This is the Runt machine. Runts are probably my favorite that we have up here, and as you can see, they've been getting nibbled on there. And then moving down here, we've got a little setup for handhelds. We've got our iPad mini, we've got a PSP, a Vita, and moving down from there, we've got our Game Boy Color, and our 3DS, and that's the Mario Brothers limited edition 3DS. And we also have Sega Game Gear in its case right there. And there's actually some lighting here where you just push the button and the lighting comes on. Nice little feature there, so you can kind of see what's going on at nighttime and play some handheld games. Moving over here, we got our popcorn machine, and we actually don't use this as much as I would have hoped, but it does look nice. It's just kind of a pain because you have to clean it out every time, and we actually end up usually making popcorn downstairs when we're watching movies on the hot air popper more than using this thing. So hopefully that'll change and we'll get into the habit of using it a little bit more. But it is a nice popcorn machine. It works well. It makes good popcorn, and I'm definitely happy to have it in the collection. And we've got some, like popcorn bags, and we've got some, I think they're energy drinks with Mario and Donkey Kong and Pac-Man behind there. And just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff in this chest, and then a little artwork above that. Moving over here, we've got our PlayStation 2 collection. And I've done, all these collections. If you want to see them in detail, we've done videos on the channel. We have a whole section, a playlist of game rooms tours, and if you want to see like every PlayStation 2 game we have in detail, go ahead and watch that. But this is more of an overview. So over here we have our PSP games, including some UMD movies down there. We have our Vita, and I really enjoy the Vita. I would like to add more to that collection because I've had fun with the games I've played there. We got like Uncharted and Persona 4, Soul Sacrifice, some good stuff there. And then we've got our PlayStation 2 games and a whole bunch of really great titles there. Definitely one of our favorite systems to collect for, and it's nice because you see them all the time when you're out and about game hunting. PlayStation 2 seems to be the system that we come across the most of, and it's just a matter of finding them in good shape because a lot of times they're pretty beat up. But we've been pretty lucky, and most of these games cost, $1, $2, $3 at most. So definitely not a whole lot spent to acquire those games, which is nice. Moving over here to the wall video games. This is where the majority of the collection upstairs is. Why don't we start right here on this shelf. And we've got our Super Nintendo games. Now we have a little Zelda perler piece that one of the viewers of our channel graciously sent our way, which we really appreciate. And then we've got a Lego Ninja Turtle kit there with the Super Nintendo controller. And then we've got our small Super Nintendo collection. It's definitely one of our smaller collections, but that's okay because it gives us a goal to collect for and to grow that collection, which we're looking forward to doing. And then we've got our Game Boy case that we got at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo a while back. And I actually had that as a kid, so it was nice to add it to the collection after all these years. I really love that thing. Then we got Oscar making noises over here. He's a little bit itchy at the moment. He usually gets itchy about 1 or 2 times a year, and right now he is. So here is our NES collection, and this is definitely one of the jewels of the collection. Now, the cool thing about this is almost half of what we have here was donated to us by a very nice viewer, and we're super appreciative of that. As you can see, I have some tabs that I printed out, alphabet tabs for the collection to keep it all organized. So it is organized alphabetically. And what I did is I just printed out the different letters on 4x6 glossy photo paper, and then I cut them out and put them, where they go on the shelf to kind of make it easy to tell where the different games are in the collection. And I think it looks nice. I used red and white, which is kind of the Nintendo color scheme, and I just thought that would be a nice little touch. And I'll probably do that to the rest of the collection at some point, but as of now, the NES shelf is the only one that's organized alphabetically. I think the next one I'll do is the Sega Genesis shelf. Up top here we have an NES controller, and then of course these signs that I printed out that top each shelf. And there's the Nintendo shelf, the Sega shelf, and the PlayStation shelf. And then we've got a dartboard over here that I missed. Moving over to the Sega shelf, we've got a Sega Genesis controller, we've got the sign, and of course Tails hanging out up there. Now this is probably my favorite collection that we have, and this was my favorite system growing up. I had a Sega Genesis, I had a bunch of games for it, and as far as all the collections that we have, the one that I seem to, and actually Leaf really enjoys it too, that we go to and that we play, I would say most. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, I suppose, between NES, Wii, and Genesis. But I would say if I had to pick one, it would be the Genesis. And we have a lot of really fun games for it. As you can see there, I'll just point out some highlights. But of course, the Sonic games, Earthworm Jim, which I love. We got some repros, like we have Fix-It Felix there. And then we got some real gems like Crusader Ascenti, which I'm really happy to have, and Truxton, and Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and really good stuff like that. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, and just a whole bunch of just great games. And those games aren't only collectible, but they're a lot of fun. And then over here we have our Sega Master System, which I kind of put this little floating display together for our small Master System collection. Now moving over here to the PlayStation shelf. Now this shelf is in limbo at the moment. We have the PlayStation 3 games at the top. Now I think I'm going to change things around here pretty soon, but for now this is how we have it. So we've got our PlayStation, it's a PlayStation 1 controller, which it doesn't really make sense because we have PS3 games on here. And then we got Assassin's Creed coin and a Dead Rising little, I don't know, skill saw hammer thing. I think I got that from Loot Crate, I believe. And then we got our PlayStation 3 collection, which is a fun system to collect for and lots of great games. And definitely enjoy the PlayStation 3. And then, of course, another jewel in the collection, which is our 32X collection. And we actually almost have a complete set. We're 5 games away at this moment. And we're having a little trouble tracking down some games. For some reason, the last 5, although they're not even really rare, it's just we're having some issues actually getting them, a couple shipping issues in a row. But we're almost there, so we're 5 games away from completing the set. But we already have the real tough ones to get, including, you can see there, the Amazing Spider-Man Web of Fire, which I'm really stoked to have. And that little perler piece, that little 32X sign, Leaf and I did. We made that together. And then we got World Series Baseball and Pitfall. And down here we have our loose games, including Calibri, which is a really cool shmup with hummingbirds. And we got some more games that are complete in box there. And definitely really enjoying collecting for 32X. And it's nice being so close to completing that set. And I think when we complete it, we're going to do a little DIY project and try to figure out a cool way to display this collection. Moving down to the bottom shelf, we have our Sega CD games, our Sega Saturn games, some Dreamcast games and custom cases, and then some Intellivision games, just kind of some miscellaneous stuff there. And just random collections we have, nothing too amazing. Definitely looking forward to growing the Sega CD and the Sega Saturn collection. And we actually have some more Intellivision games that we need to clean, test, and add to the collection here soon that we picked up in a big retro Atari / random old 70s systems haul that we got in an On the Hunt episode. And we got about 300 games at one Goodwill, and a lot of them there was about 15, 20 Intellivision games in that lot. Moving over here, we have our PC shelf, which is overflowing at the moment, as you can see. Up here is our World of Warcraft collection, so we got some World of Warcraft games and strategy guides and action figures and battle chest and collector's editions and all kinds of great stuff. And definitely love me some World of Warcraft. And we got this kind of cool dungeon infinite corridor. I just turned the light on. Let's see. Oh, the battery's dead, so I guess you're not going to see that. Well, anyways, it's an infinite corridor, and the lights look like they're going down a dungeon corridor, and it looks like it goes on forever, and it's pretty cool. But even when it's not on, it looks pretty neat right there, and I'll have to change those batteries and share that in a future video for you guys, because it's pretty cool. Moving down here, we got some of my favorite PC games. We got, like a sealed Command & Conquer, which is cool, and that was a trade that we did with, I believe, Nintendo 13. And Seventh Guest, which definitely one of our favorite PC games. That's the Mac version, the PC version's behind that. And we went to that mansion, which is in Oregon, and we did a video of that. If you guys want to check that out, it's one of our On the Hunt episodes. And Police Quest, and just some really good stuff. Another World of Warcraft Collector's Edition. And then in here, we've got this whole cabinet filled with PC games. And yeah, we're running out of room here. No one seems to want these PC games, so we come across them all the time. And I love PC games. The box art and all the extra items that they add in the boxes, and there's just some great stuff to collect. So definitely enjoy collecting for the PC, and I wish we had more room for it. Moving over here, we've got our Nintendo 64 collection, definitely one of our smaller collections that we have. And a little sign there on top, and then a few games that we have in the collection. So hopefully we'll get to grow that in 2017. And I basically have this whole space here I'm going to leave open, so if we want to grow the Nintendo 64 collection, we can. And it's a pretty small collection, so maybe, it's not like a major goal, but if we ever did achieve like a set, I think we could probably fit the whole set on this wall here. But it's not something we're like aggressively going for. It's just as we come across them and as we get a good deal, we go ahead and grab the deals as they come. Over here is our Dreamcast collection. Now, I'm really proud of the Dreamcast collection because this is the only, well, I shouldn't say only, this is the oldest of the original collections that I have still. So basically, I bought all these when the Dreamcast was new. So the Dreamcast came out in 9/9/99 in North America, September 9th, 1999. And I was waiting in line, and I bought one when it came out. I was really hyped for it, and I love the Dreamcast. If not my favorite system, one of my favorite systems. I love it. I love playing it to this day. And unfortunately, at some point as a teenager, and being not too bright apparently, I took all the packaging and all the manuals and I threw them away and put all these games into a binder, which kills me because there's some good stuff here. But that's okay because I have all the games and that's what's most important. And I put together this little display with a little Dreamcast sign up top. And there's definitely some great games here, like of course Shenmue, which is a masterpiece in my opinion, Grandia 2, and Skies of Arcadia, which I love that game. Of course, the Resident Evil games, and Hydro Thunder, and Power Stone 2, and just a bunch of great stuff. And that pretty much wraps it up for the upstairs game room. And now this room is a little bit different from the downstairs game room because I try not to go too crazy as far as like piling up stuff floor to ceiling in this room. I try to keep it a space that anyone can come over, be comfortable to hang out, and play some pinball and not feel like it's overwhelming with stuff floor to ceiling. So I try not to let this room get too out of control. Now the downstairs game room, I don't mind. It's kind of closed off from the house. It's got a door that I can close. And that is a little more floor to ceiling stuff, which is inevitable if you're a collector. You know, you got lots of boxes and games and stuff, and it just kind of happens. But my intent with this room is not to let it get too crazy and to kind of keep it clean and organized and just not too overwhelming. So why don't we go over here and check out what Leaf's up to. Knock, knock.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to my corner.
It's a Leaf.
Hello.
What you doing?
Oh, I'm sitting here playing some Bakugan on my 2DS.
Cool. Nice little setup you got here, huh?
Yeah, I love my little setup.
So let's see what you got. It looks like you got 2 shelves here with a bunch of games. That's quite the collection you got, huh?
Yeah.
Your favorite DS and 3DS, and you got some, what, Pop Vinyl figures I see there?
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
I know you're a fan of that show, huh?
Yeah. One of my favorite games in my collection is the Style Savvy.
Style Savvy, and what, Animal Crossing probably?
Yeah.
What are you playing right now?
I'm playing Bakugan.
Oh, cool. Is that the one that you got from Marcus at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And also, I really, really, really love all of the Animal Crossing games. Are right up my alley.
Nice. Can't go wrong with Animal Crossing, huh?
No.
And I see you've got some Nintendo Powers down there. You've got this sign that a very gracious viewer sent to you.
Yeah.
Looks good there. A little light, if you need a little light. And you got some handhelds here, huh? You got a Game Boy Advance and some DS's. Nice little collection. I see some more Animal Crossing stuff up there. And Mario.
And a little Mario.
Sweet. Some Skylanders over there, I see.
Yeah.
A little sign. Leaf's Nintendo Gaming Zone. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Little snazzy setup you got, huh?
I love this little corner because I can come and play and
Yeah. Cool. Now we've done a video, if you guys want to see a complete overview of this space and all the different games that Leaf has in our collection, we've done that. So you can check that out in our game room tour. And yeah, so I'm thinking now we're going to head downstairs and show them our downstairs game room. What do you think about that?
Awesome. 2 thumbs up.
We're in the downstairs game room, and as you can see, if you watched our last year's game room tour, this room has changed probably the most. And the main reason for that is just the amount of stuff that we've accumulated doing the Game Hunters channel over the last year. And it's been pretty remarkable how much stuff we've gotten while we've been out on the hunt, and then people send us stuff, which is awesome. And then we just track down a lot of deals when we're at Goodwills and at gaming expos and just all kinds of stuff. So why don't we start over here with the Wii collection. This is probably our largest collection, I think, if not maybe our second largest. There's approximately 300 and something games in the Wii collection. And we have some boxed accessories up here. We have a little light there that's shining on this Wii poster. And then we've got some of the gun peripherals hanging up on the wall here. And then some of the better games sitting right here, like Fire Emblem, or at least more collectible. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. And we got like the Mario 25th Anniversary All-Stars. And Legend of Zelda, we got Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess and Xenoblade Chronicles and Red the Sky Soldier and Monster Hunter Tri, and then we got a bunch of Mario games here with this little Mario promotional piece for New Super Mario Bros. Wii. We've got a little Wii stand here with our original Wii that we bought in 2006, I believe it was. Some games, some Wiimotes, of course. A little Happy Home Designer poster. The bulk of the collection, it's too deep there in most cases, so you can't see them all. And we got some nice stuff there like The Last Story and Metroid Prime Trilogy. And we've got some more accessories here on top of a Wii Fit board. And of course our Mario RC track, which is a lot of fun. And another thing that the cat loves to play with, that and the RC tank. She actually does enjoy this, the RC tank not so much. Over here we've got a whole bunch of just kind of random like Skylanders and Amiibo and action figures, Transformers, and just all kinds of stuff, World of Warcraft figures, and just a lot of fun stuff up there, along with some speakers for the stereo that we have in here. This is our main entertainment center down here, and we've got my favorite TV in the collection, which is a Sony Trinitron. And this is an excellent TV for retro gaming. And we've got some consoles hooked up to it. We've got our Sega Genesis Model 1. We've got our Nintendo 64, our GameCube with the Game Boy Player, our Sony PlayStation 1 and Xbox, original Xbox. And then we have that Atari 2600 hooked up to this TV as well. Over here we've got our very small GameCube collection. This is another collection that we really need to grow, and that's one of our goals in 2017 is to start adding to the GameCube collection. We've got a Sony stereo there and DVD player, CD player, and we have it hooked up to 5.1 channel surround sound, and we have all the consoles that run through this TV hooked up to that. So it sounds really good in here. We've got this subwoofer over here. So the games sound good, they look good. And it's just really nice to play retro games on a retro TV, in my opinion. You don't have the input lag. I think it looks better, and it's just the way they're meant to be played, in my opinion. I know there's lots of options for playing games on modern TVs with the FrameMeister and all kinds of fun things you can do in that regards. But if I have my preference, I like to play on a CRT television, at least as far as the retro games. And I like to play with original hardware and original controllers would be my preference. And we've got our Amiibo display here, the N-level display, which is really cool. And we've got like our box for the Wii U, and we've got some games and some more Amiibo there. Let's see, up here is our Atari collection, which has grown significantly. I think I mentioned it in the video already, but we had a major Atari find recently. And it took some doing, but we got all the games in here, and we tested them and cleaned them, and it was quite the project. So some of the highlights would be like Sorcerer's Apprentice, and we got Spy Hunter back there. We've got a boxed wall ball, Ghostbusters, we've got the Supercharger accessory. Just some really cool stuff. And I've been having a lot of fun playing all these games. Just a great system to collect for, and I think they hold up really well. Atari 2600 games in particular are just a lot of fun to play, and both Leaf and I have had a great time playing them. Moving over here to this corner is, now I actually just in prep for this video, I moved things around in this corner and added some nice features here. So starting with this poster here, this is a King of Fighters poster that a viewer of the channel sent to us, which is really nice. And she actually sent us a few posters, including this Call of Duty poster that we have over here. So I went ahead and put this poster up. I kind of reorganized the way I had this corner laid out, and we had this we got this laser light here for Christmas. And if you watched our Holiday Palooza videos or Christmas videos, we had the backdrop, our YouTube backdrop, we had LED, or not LED, excuse me, we had laser lights shining in the background. And I didn't want to just put that laser light away for the year. I thought, how could I use it in the game room? So I just kind of put it in this corner here. And I like it. You can't even, it's not even really Christmassy when you have it kind of spotlighted in one area. It just looks like kind of a rainfall of lasers. So I really like it there. I thought I'd just let it live there until we, bring it out for Christmas again next year. And we got all kinds of boxed accessories. And we got our Xbox One Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider bundle. We've got our Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider Collector's Edition. We got the box for my Vans Nintendo shoes. We got the complete set of Super Mario Hot Wheel cars. And a whole bunch of games. We got Wii U and Xbox One and some more Wii games. We got the collector's edition for Doom and Aliens, Colonial Marines and Ghost and Dead Island Riptide. And then moving over here is to one of the nicest items in the collection, which is our Tomb Raider shrine. Definitely love us some Tomb Raider. If you follow the channel, you know that well. And we have plans actually for this shrine. I'm not going to say too much about it, but we're going to do a little overhaul of this at some point in the future. But this is the setup for now, and down here is the Fallout collection, and then we have some Xbox games down there with more boxes up top. And nothing too exciting there. We got a Retron 5 and a Halo controller and the Game Chasers DVD, that's cool. And yeah, Xbox One Elite controller case there, and just some random boxed accessories. Moving over here is the setup, our PC gaming setup, and this is one of the big changes that we made in 2016. This was a completely different setup in our last overview of our game room, last year's complete overview. This was not like this. So now we have a multiple monitor setup, and this is actually really nice because this monitor up here I can just put on the backdrop. I can just make it flat white, and it actually serves as kind of lighting for our YouTube videos, because if you watch our channel, this is what you're used to seeing. Here's our backdrop. Now I did change it a little bit. This Tomb Raider, I moved my guitar amp, which used to be sitting right here, and put the Tomb Raider Collector's Edition there. So I changed the backdrop a little bit, but this is what you're used to seeing if you watch our videos, our YouTube backdrop. And having all these monitors here serves as a nice light source when we're doing that. And then we've got our microphone, and we've got some headphones there. There's just some Bose headphones that I use to edit. I find it really helpful to edit while I'm listening to headphones. You can hear the audio a lot better. And I like those headphones because they give kind of a natural audio. There's no like boost bass or anything like that. Or bass boost, excuse me. And we got our channel up there, Steam collection up there, a little Sega wallpaper, PlayStation 3 games, including some of my favorite games, which is the Uncharted games and The Last of Us. I got this for Christmas, a little drone that I got, and it's got a camera on it, so I haven't been able to test it out as far as camera quality. My hope is it's good enough to use for the channel. That would be awesome. It films in 720p, which is, if it's decent 720p, I'll be able to splice that into our videos just fine. So hopefully it does a good job, and we can use that for the channel, because that's something I would like to do. I'm always looking to add gadgets and upgrade our channel whenever possible. And then moving over here, we got some more box accessories, some comics, some action figures, got Claptrap and Predator, and we got a Star Wars helmet there for Stormtrooper. And we got all our indie boxes. I think we've got about 13 or 14 indie boxes in there. And we've got our custom NES. Let's open this up so you can see it. Leaf and I did that as a project, and we do have a video on our channel if you want to check that out. We got some signed games. We got a signed Retro Championship cart, and Gamester81 signed that for us, and then Pat, the NES Punk, signed this Barbie for us, which is fun. Moving down to our Final Fantasy collection, one of my favorite series, and I just finished playing Final Fantasy 15 and had a great time with that. And we still are missing some of the early Final Fantasy games, but we do have the first one there on the NES. But in 2017, it would be nice to pick up the rest of the NES and the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games. I think my favorite in the series are probably the PlayStation 1 era games, being 7, 8, and 9 being my favorite, and in particular 9 is probably my favorite, and followed by 7, and then 10 and 15 were a lot of fun as well. But definitely one of my favorite franchises. We got our Halo collection down there, and it's a little dark, I apologize for that, but we got a Halo edition Xbox, the Halo controller, and we've got a whole bunch of games there which you can't really see, but all the Halo games are back there, or most of them at least. And we got some more Xbox games. We got a piece of perler art that Leaf and I did of Lara Croft. And we've got some Xbox 360 games here, and we just try to find creative uses of space whenever we can, because you kind of have to do that when you have a large collection of video games and relatively limited space. I mean, I know we have probably more space than some people, which I'm very appreciative of, but even then, you got to find creative uses of space. We've got some Mario drapes, curtains there, kind of a fun addition to the game room. And then our Retron 5 is hooked up to this really cool, it's a new TV, it's an HD TV, but it's got a retro look to it. And it's got knobs and dials on it. And it's actually a pretty sweet TV. The picture is really good on it. And it's actually got a little subwoofer built into it, so the sound is really good. And I love that TV. That's definitely an awesome TV and a great addition to the game room. And we got some consoles hooked up down there. We've got a Neo Geo X, we've got a PlayStation 2, and we've got that PlayStation control stick here, fight stick, 2-player fight stick, which was a Goodwill find. And it's actually, I think, like $100 or so fight stick if you were going to go out and buy that on like eBay or something. I haven't looked it up in a while, so I may be wrong on that. But we got that for pretty cheap. I think it was like $5 or something like that. Moving over here, we've got, well, a really nice item in our game room, which is all the letters that people have sent to us over the years. And we're barely fitting into that frame now because we have so many of them. They're like 3 or 4 layers deep there. And it's fun to just take those out and read them. It's really humbling, the nice things that people say about our channel and the letters that people send to us. So we try to have a nice prominent spot in the game room where we can show those to people and share them and look at them and enjoy them. And it's just one of our favorite items in the game room. And we have a really nice item here, which is a Batman collectible coin that one of our viewers sent to us, and really enjoy this item, and it honors our military here in the US, which is really cool. So we have that right there as well. We got some coins that we got at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. We have our Blu-ray, the Spooktacular 2016, that we put together with a bunch of our videos from this all the content that we produced in October. And then of course our Final Fantasy collection is in the Final Fantasy display cabinet here, including our custom Resident Evil, or no, not Final Fantasy, what am I saying? Resident Evil, geez. Our Resident Evil display cabinet, including our Resident Evil custom PlayStation 1 with the umbrella logo on there. And then this controller, although it's not Resident Evil technically, it looks like it belongs in here, so that's where it lives. And then we've got a whole bunch of games down there for the Resident Evil. The originals on the PlayStation 1. We got Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, Code Veronica, Survivor, just about every Resident Evil game and movie we have in here. And then we got this little custom badge that we printed out, Umbrella Core, and it's like a security clearance badge. And just, a little nice touch, a little additional theming to our Resident Evil storage locker. And this was another DIY project that we did on the channel, which we do have a video if you want to go check out our DIY gaming playlist. That video is available to watch if you want to see how we made that. Moving over here, we have our PlayStation 1 collection, or at least part of it. And a lot of fun games. Love the PlayStation 1. Definitely one of our favorite systems to collect for and play. And this is a light box that I use for photography. And we've got our Odyssey games there, which we picked up recently. We've got a Call of Duty Infinite Warfare poster, and behind that is just like storage. And we got some more PlayStation 1 games here, and a Doom collector statue up top, a Doom poster that a viewer of the channel sent to us, some action figures, including we got Hulk, and we got, of course, Terminator, a little TGH Perler piece, a little PlayStation signage, and a bunch of games. We got the Alien Colonial Marine statue there. Moving over here, we've got our Xbox sign and our Xbox display. And a lot of people notice these in our videos and say how much they like these kind of wall displays that we have. And a lot of people ask us where we get these. So these little strips here are, oh, here we go, are called CDs. Seedeez. But I don't believe the company's in business anymore. We've actually got a bunch of them that we got at local Goodwills. So at one point, I think I had 7 boxes of CDs, and whenever I saw them, for some reason I kept seeing them at our local Goodwills, and at different Goodwills too. So I think the company went out of business, and then they just had all their extra inventory go to local Goodwills or something, because they were sealed boxes, and they were 99 cents each, and I knew they were cool, so I got a bunch of them. I think we're down to about 2 boxes now. So I'm holding on to those for, if we come up with a creative way to use them. But I really enjoy being able to display the games like that. It's not the best use of space if you're really trying to maximize space and get as much games into an area. But I consider this area right here more of a part of the YouTube channel. It's it's a backdrop. It's a set piece. And I want it to look good for you guys, and I want it to be a nice, visually I want it to be nice. When we're filming our videos, I want you to have something that's nice to look at. So I'm not too worried about fitting maximum amount of games into the space, and more interested in it looking good and being a nice backdrop for our videos. Over here we have some Xbox controllers, including the Xbox One Elite controller, the Xbox One Halo controller, the Xbox 360 Star Wars controller, and just a regular Xbox 360 controller. We have some Xbox 360 games. We have the Star Wars Edition Xbox 360, which is cool. Love that thing. And as I mentioned earlier, a new edition, we took the Rise of the Tomb Raider statue and the Rise of the Tomb Raider crate that it comes in, the collector's edition comes in this crate, and we put it here and replaced the amp that I had here with that. Centipede poster and an Atari little signage there. Got that on eBay. Really like that thing. Nice little piece to add to the collection. We have our Dark Souls statue and some CDs. And then we have our Xbox 360 collection and some Xbox games there. Alright everyone, that wraps up our 2017 Game Room Tour. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you're a subscriber to the channel and you've been with us for a while, I hope that you enjoy seeing these full Game Room tours every year so that you can kind of watch the progression of the game rooms, you can see the collection grow, and you can kind of go on this game collecting journey with us and see the changes year to year. So I really appreciate you watching. I hope everyone has an awesome 2017, and until next time, bye.